what's up, everyone? Armchair Tuna back in with another video, and in today's video, I'm being joined by AstroNerdGames in our new series, Grounded Talk, and pretty much what Grounded Talk's about is we're going to be talking about the various things in Grounded, such as the news, the buffs, nerfs of all the new combat changes, everything about that. And anyways, let's get started with the grounded talk.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump to ground news. I'm gonna do a scene. I'm gonna do a scene change, and we are
All
gonna go
right.
ahead and. All right,
Oh, my poor
grounded.
computer.
Oh my god. Am I breaking your computer?
No, it's good. This is gonna be the most pressure my computer's had in a while. Oh
It's
no,
okay,
I need to get a new one soon. Yeah,
dude. We're in the same boat right now. Like I've got a PC
yeah.
that is like made. It was like my wife made it back in 2015. Like if that tells you anything.
Ooh, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. It is so bad that not only can I not stream, but I'm having a problem. Like I had to do so many setting
Mm.
changes just to get this video running. So,
Oh yeah.
mm-hmm. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into grounded news. There has
All
been
right.
a yeah, there's been a lot of changes with this newest 1.3 update. I feel like it changed the entire game in my opinion.
Yeah, it really did. The elemental weapons they've gotten changed to where after they've been upgraded after level 6, they get some special effect added to them.
Yeah.
For the what was it? Yeah, the mint mallet, it kind of gains like an AoE effect on its third hit combo, similar to the ice staff. The Coltana on its actually no, it's not third hit. Once you parry, you get a large damage boost. Well, chance to get a large damage boost after.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, the Morning Star on your third hit, it deals bleed, which is really good. Morning Star, in my opinion, was kind of lacking for a while, so it kind of did get its little boost.
Really, I
And
love the Morning Star, dude. I feel like
in
that
my
was like my go-to.
yeah, it was for a while for me as well. And what I'm most excited about is the battle axe. The battle axe has been kind of like bad for a while, and it's
Yeah.
finally pretty much yeah, it feels like a end game weapon, which I'm happy for.
I
Because
mean,
yeah, when it was first released, oh, are you gonna talk or
no, you're good. So
you talking
basically,
something?
I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
for me, I never really used the battle axe. Like I've had friends that's used it and they loved it, but in my opinion, I just felt like there were other weapons that were just so much better under
Oh
circumstances.
yeah,
It was always circumstantial, and that's how I felt about the battle axe. So yeah,
yeah. Battle axe, I'm really happy that it feels more like an end game weapon now, and not just like a weapon that you would pretty much get just in the upper yard, like the fire ant club, but just harder.
yeah.
And just recently, it's been so good to where they've had to give a 10% damage nerf to it, which is, I mean, it's valid because I revisited an old build of mine, which was a armor breaking build. Pretty much all it was just raw damage from fire ant
Yeah,
armor,
yeah.
and I was able to shred through the infected broodmother in the first like 3, 4 combos I did
Oh wow,
for second phase. I think it probably wasn't that, but it was something similar to that.
dude, that's ridiculous. I mean,
Oh yeah,
like,
especially if it's like sped up afterwards,
yeah.
because like
So, definitely with the nerf, of course, everybody was super disheartened that they nerfed it to begin with. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, I don't think the nerf is that bad. I still think it's a pretty powerful weapon.
Oh yeah. Honestly, the nerf is really good because it's more balanced now. Because before, it was absolutely busted. Like you would shred through everything with it, as
Yeah.
well as Chopper, which gives like a defense nerf when using it. You're able to shred through things much more quicker.
I definitely agree with that. There was I especially with the new Black Widow change, it felt like now that she was weak against something, especially Sour, that
Yeah.
Sour battle axe just like annihilated her without a second thought. There was like no effort put into that, even though they beefed her up quite a bit. I felt like the change between that they did for the Black Widow was challenging, but it almost balanced it out in a way. It was like, yeah, she's weak against Sour. That's great, but unless you're not going against her with the Sour battle axe, it felt like it was a good challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of the Black Widow, her armor actually got a massive buff to where once you kill something, it rapidly heals you and also gives you an attack speed increase, which makes it pretty much the best armor for raids.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone right now who like with those like yeah the Sour Battle Axe and the Widow armor. So I've seen so many videos of that combo together, and it's pretty much unmatched during raids. It shreds through pretty much everything.
Yeah, definitely. That Black Widow armor is gonna get nerfed heavily. There's no way that they're gonna keep it that
Yeah,
way.
probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it might. I don't know because to get the full value out of it. It's really only during raids. So if you're fighting something like the Mantis or the infected Brood Mother, it's not gonna be like as well because obviously there's nothing else to kill
Yeah.
to rapidly heal you and give you that attack buff.
Okay.
But honestly, it's kind of been my go-to in the yard just because if something attacks me, I can just kill something like an aphid or weevil and get my health back up.
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. I didn't even think about it like that. There are so many new strategies, especially with the newer buffs to the armor that we've had. I mean, like I went super crazy with it in my last video where I featured the Black Ant armor, and that was like an armor where I was like, yeah, crit stun and all that other not crit stun. What's
Yeah,
just the chance of anything regarding to critical hits. It was an okay armor, but I've never personally used it until they beefed it up. So there were
yeah.
there's
I've
some
used
things.
yeah, I've used the Black Ant armor quite a lot, especially during the 1.0 update when it was first released. And then I proceeded to like transit to the tier 3 armor. It was my go-to for a while.
Okay.
And then I would say probably my second favorite armor, well, for tier 2 armor, probably the Koi armor, just because all the buffs it gives. Because the, let's see, the extended perfect block window is really good. The parry stun's okay. Honestly, the bulkier out might be better just because of it, especially since it's a light armor in tier 2.
Yeah.
But the full set bonus, it's really good to where upon parrying something, it has a slight chance to take 50% more damage for a few seconds.
Okay. Man. Yeah,
So,
I know. So many things. I don't see myself actually using the Black Ant armor as like a single piece.
yeah,
Not like the Fire Ant armor. The Fire Ant armor, it's like you can use each piece and you still get the corrosion, or you could just use the Red Ant shield and you get the corrosion. So you have a bunch of options. Going back, I was a little upset. Not gonna lie, I was a little upset that I wouldn't say nerf the shield, but the fact that you're doing less damage with the shield now kind of changes my playstyle, in my opinion. Like that's just me.
yeah, it really does because it kind of nerfs one-handed weapons all around just because of it. which does suck, but
Mm, definitely, definitely. And this
yeah,
is yeah.
because that and also uh that they buffed like all the well, pretty much all the two-handed weapons to where they swing 15% quicker. I think it was for the club, some of the swords,
Uh huh.
a few others I can't really name, but
Oh, you know
it kind
what?
of feels like you kind of more have to use a two-handed weapon. Not always, but more have to if you want to get the most from combat.
Yeah, in my opinion, so when they said that they increased the speed for the two-handed weapons, in my opinion, I feel like they matched the same speed for the two-handed weapons, but the scythe, I feel like it got just a titch slower. It might
Yeah,
just
that's what
yeah.
I'm also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you agree.
because
Okay.
yeah, from testing, also, I don't know if it's me, but I think Apex Predator for the Scythe might be bugged or they may have secretly nerfed it. I don't know.
Well,
Because when I was testing it out with it, it wasn't as fast as it seemed to be,
okay. Yeah. I
which is
mean, it's
odd.
slower. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels slower. And speaking of which, the Scythe is also a weapon that I was hoping that you were able to use Chopper with, because it does say it's a chopping
It
weapon.
is, yeah.
As yeah, you're able to chop down, weeds, grass, everything with, yeah, most stuff with it. And also you're able to apply, what is it, the assassin perk to where you're able to cause things to bleed separately,
Mhm.
which is really good. But me, yeah, it's kind of a slight disappointment that you're not able to do chopper just to do that slight more bit of damage that the scythe kind of needs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's definitely
But
interesting. I maybe it was just like overlooked, or they're like the scythe in itself is already pretty powerful considering that you have the chance of doing yoke blows. And I think on top
yeah,
of that, doing chopper with, let's say, Apex Predator as well, that would be a beastly build, man. Could you imagine?
it yeah it would. It, but it's kind of gotten outmatched though for a chopping weapon because you can just use the sour battle axe obviously after all the buffs it gotten.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Let's
but
see.
honestly, one weapon. Actually, wait, what's a weapon that you would like to see added to grounded?
Oh,
Like
that's
any
a
sort of weapon.
okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. We got the daggers. We got the swords. We got the axes. We got what is one thing I really want to say? I want to. So you know how like with daggers they have a shorter uh like range, so you have to get right up in
Yeah.
their hitbox. It would be ridiculous to see like like think of the katana. Have you ever seen Elden Ring? There's this katana that's like I don't know, man, like 3 feet long or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's
Oh my
almost it's like
god.
5 feet long, and
Oh
I would
yeah.
love to see something where we could almost have like the spear range, but with you know with it a little bit longer, like with a sword. In my opinion,
Yeah.
I do tend to go towards daggers and swords. I don't really use like my axe, and I until now I haven't really used a sour battle axe either. I just feel there are a lot more creatures out there that are either weak against slashing. I wish there were more creatures that are weak against slashing. In my opinion, kind of like in your one of your videos, you said you wish that there were creatures that were more weak against spicy because with
Yeah.
the Coltana is such a specialized weapon that it's a spider annihilator. We already know that, but what else can we use that with?
The spiders are pretty much like the only thing that you can use it with. Like anything else, like not really. Because there's so many bugs that like the mantis, for
Uh huh.
example, it's resistant to slashing and spicy
Yeah, I
to
think it's like
where
25% or something like that.
yeah, to where it pretty much takes no damage from it. It still takes damage, don't get me wrong, but like nowhere near if you're gonna use something like the Club of the Mother Demon or yeah, the Sour Battle Axe
Uh-huh.
again.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There was one build that I was messing around with because they had, kind of debuff the shields and you were dealing like less attack damage. So I was like, okay, if you use the fire ant shield and you get the corrosion effect, you're still kind of doing a little bit less damage over time, but it still adds that corrosion effect because you do get the chance of their attack defense, like decreasing, which does help out in general. But I think against bosses, I don't see myself using a shield unless I'm going against the infected broodmother. I would have to be
Oh
very
yeah.
patient. Like, I think my quickest time defeating the infected broodmother in her lair is probably like like less than 4 minutes. It still takes me a while, man.
The I think my fastest time is when the fist build was busted when
Uh,
the Infected Broodmother came out.
yeah,
So I think it was around 2-3 minutes if I'm not correct. Well, if
yeah.
I'm not wrong, because
No, that
like
sounds about
pretty much
right.
all you had to do was just yeah parry everything, and then the fiery armor, little fist, all that would do like all the rest.
Definitely. It was so interesting to see how Lil Fist kind of came out and people discovered that it could be the most powerful build. In my opinion, I still think it is, as long as you're really good at pairing. It is
Yeah,
like I had a friend. He helps me out. He's like a woe mode god. Like this guy is intense. Um, he defeated the mantis with no damage. Like defeated her before she could lay out like her first scream, and that was with the entire Lofa's build. And I was like, well, as long as you're really great at parrying, the build is still busted.
yeah. That's actually it's really impressive because yeah, the mantis you can't block her attack, and also there's another attack to her. Even if you parry it, she'll still probably bleed to you, which
Yeah,
sucks.
I mean, in my opinion, the Mantis is actually my favorite boss. Maybe because I'm a little biased because I was actually able to defeat her in one mode, but I just feel like her between her attacks, her defenses, um, the amount of attack patterns that she has really balances her as an entire boss. With the hedge broodmother
Yeah,
being the easiest because she only has like what like 1, 2, 3, 4, like around 5 attack patterns, but it depends on which phase that she's in. So, of course, after each phase, she does get a little tougher. But the Mantis overall, I feel like, is a little bit more balanced because she could throw you. And I didn't learn this until I did go against her in Woe mode, that it was. I took it for granted, is all I'm going to say. The Infected Bird
yeah,
Mother still is the hardest boss. It is. But I
yeah,
feel like there's not much more. I don't think they could make the IBM like more difficult than it is, but the Mantis has like that
yeah,
higher level difficulty, in my opinion.
yeah. One thing I do hate about the Broodmother and also the Mantis boss is that they have what is it like the roars you can't parry them, which
Yeah.
I mean which does suck because when the Broodmother does it, she pretty much gives you a attack debuff to where you don't like do nearly as much damage as you would.
Oh yeah, man.
And when the Magus does it, I think it's less stamina you gain
It
and
is.
also less parry window. I think,
Yeah,
if I'm
it's like
not
your
wrong.
your defense your defense goes down. So like not your defense, but like your block
Yeah,
window. Like it goes down, yes. So you have to hit those blocks like almost right when she hits you, type of thing. But yeah, I
yeah,
keep telling myself that all the time. It was like, man, we gotta block these screams. It'd be really cool. Like we can do that with the IBM,
yeah.
but I feel like with the IBM, if you don't block those screams, it can be detrimental.
It. Oh yeah, it's more punishing because what because it staggers you in a fight you probably don't want to be staggered in with all the bombs and all that. And also, it gives you the healing debuff, to
Mm-hmm.
healing items don't give you as much as they used to.
Yeah, there is an effect that with her screams that if you don't block them, there's an effect that takes place and it lasts the entire battle. If I could just remember what it was, it has something to do with stamina, I'm pretty sure. But there is I mean, like when I released my ultimate boss guide, I was like I had to really emphasize this. I was like it like just block them. Like if you can't perfect parry them, just block them because the effects that
Yeah,
last the effects will last longer if you just don't end up like sometimes I feel like it was a little bugged and it didn't affect me, but I think I just got lucky. I hope they don't fix that. Like please don't fix that if it's
yeah.
bugged.
But yeah, the infected broodmother for me has it's kind of like deteriorated down on like my favorite boss list just because
Mm.
it's because like she has a scripted scream around halfway down her health to where even if you stagger her by getting a crit on her, she's still programmed to do that
Yeah.
even after. And obviously it just makes the fight like 10 times longer than it needs to be.
Uh-huh.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not really complaining that much because before you were able to absolutely shred her if you got all the right stuff, like,
Mm.
and the fight would be over pretty much in like 30 seconds. So it's a good change. I'll give him that.
It is. I mean, if we're going to compare her to the Hedgebrood mother, and we're talking about, because in the last video that I did, and I was using the Black Ant armor with the Coltana, with of course some buffs and stuff like that. Like I shredded half of her health in no time before she even hit phase 2, and after that,
Yeah,
like the quickest time that I've defeated her is probably around like 48 seconds, like just under a minute.
yeah,
So it is possible, on medium, it is
yeah,
possible to be able to get there.
yeah.
But it is a little annoying. But I think the reason why we can't parry their screams makes it to where, yes, it reminds us that they are bosses, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And the infected brood mother makes sense because she's already hard enough as she is. She has that
Yeah.
third phase to where she attacks at like the speed of light.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, it kind of reminded me the effect they were doing like some 90s, 80s movies to where they would just speed up like 2 times and then
Uh
put
huh.
some music over it, like Home Alone and all that.
Yeah. Oh,
But
God.
yeah,
Okay.
the brood mother, like yeah, like I was saying, you can no longer just finish and kill, just do the fight in 30 seconds because she has that scripted scream around her second phase or
Mm-hmm.
halfway. But Wasp Queen, we haven't talked about the Wasp Queen yet.
It's my least favorite. God.
Honestly, I don't know. Before, when she was first released, she was honestly not even that hard. I was able to defeat her first try.
Uh huh.
She
Same.
like I think she summoned like one, two, maybe even three wasp if she wanted to throughout the entire fight.
Huh.
Now I'm pretty sure like as soon as a wasp dies, like more spawn.
So she has, so she has different phases just as well. I think it goes up to phase 4.
Yeah,
Um, in her second phase, she drops down and she's basically like you can attack her, go ham and stuff. However,
yeah,
in her, I believe it's her third and fourth phase. So what I learned when I did a video on her, I learned a lot about her, but it made a whole lot of sense. Her phases does not go in line. It doesn't go to like 1, 2, 3, and 4. It goes to like it goes to like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, then phase 2, then phase 4, then phase. It's just it jumps around, and that's kind of what makes her a
yeah,
little unpredictable. But what's what's killer and what makes her really difficult as a boss, especially in multiplayer, is the amount of wasps and wasp drones that she will summon. So like take it in like medium mode, you're playing with 4 people, they will she summons one drone, or not one drone, but one wasp per player, and or she summons like two wasps, then an additional wasp per player. So it kind of like makes her even harder to be able to do that. Uh, and I want to say, out of all the bosses, her resistant level increases exponentially compared to the other bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the time that she's on her last phase, her attack resistance, or her attack resistance, is like 82.5% or something like that. It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah. Then also when she gets the wasp drone out, I don't know if the wasp drone heals her at all, but I do know it gives her the bleed buff.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen that one too much. But yes, they like the drones will heal her. But I haven't seen it so much that it substantially heals her, unless you're going against her with like a poison build, which
Yeah.
or a venom build now. You know, like there's options. Also, it was interesting when they did bring in like the venom, and they're like, okay, you know, the widow dagger can do venom damage now, which is really cool. And the you know, you got the mother demon builds, you got the brood mother armor, and they also have like venom coating. So I thought that was super cool uh to add in addition. But I feel like a lot of these builds just makes it easier for you to annihilate the brood mother opposed to other creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta say all the bard build to where you're able to do with her, like
Mm.
to pretty much do a summoner build, is so much fun. It's gotta be one of my like favorite builds to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Because yeah, with all the wasps you're able to summon from the bard bow, as well as like all the buffs you're able to give yourself from the cap, it's fun.
Yeah. I
And
wish I wish I was good at range, dude. I suck at ranged attacks. I try so hard, and I'm like, okay, I'll use it like if I really have to, you know.
yeah,
When she was first brought to the public, people were using pollen arrows, but I think they buffed her along the way. I wasn't too sure about it because I hadn't, you know, beaten her at in the beginning when she was first released, but I was like,
yeah,
her stun threshold is it's nowhere near as the infected broodmother, but it is quite substantial
oh
enough to
yeah,
where pollen arrows can kind of bring her down. But you're talking about maybe like ten arrows in, if that. It's enough to notice.
yeah. That and let's see. I know, just a lot of range builds in general. That's usually the boss that I fight against if I'm doing a range build. But yeah, she's kind of just she is difficult, I would say, but
I think she's often
yeah,
overlooked because
yeah.
she was released about what, a month, less than a month before the infected broodmother came out.
Oh yeah,
So
no, the infected broodmother came out like a week after she was released, I believe.
yeah, no, it was ridiculous. It was really fast. And
Oh yeah,
we were, you know, we were super excited. We were like, hey, this is a new update. There's new creatures. We were super excited. There's a new boss. Everything lined up.
oh
Made the
yeah,
game a little bit more challenging. We're all super excited about it. But let's talk about something that really like just crossed my mind. Let's talk about the newest update now, where people were expecting that they were going to do something on top of Playgrounds, where they were actually going to come out with new creatures or a new boss. Now, I did read a comment on one of the videos I was watching, and people were really excited about the update. Yes, however, other people were like, you know what, I am excited for the new Playgrounds map because it gives us more options to be able to do stuff and enjoy the game while we're at it, opposed to having new creatures and a new boss come out and then all of a sudden you're just like done. That's it. Now we gotta wait for another update. And I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah, but speaking of the next update, they did give us a teaser of what might come in the next update with the secret door.
Uh huh. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely gonna be interesting. I cannot wait until they do that. They were super smart, releasing that.
Yeah, I really like that. That was a really cool thing they added in
Uh
because
huh.
it kept me and also probably a lot of other people speculating what's behind that door. I think I had a theory, but thinking more of it, it's probably not true that defeating all seven bosses would open that door and it might do like a super boss or something like that, maybe a secret ending that you could do. But the super boss theory is probably not true since we have the infected broodmother in the game and she's pretty much already that of herself.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, if I'm going to compare it to like other bosses I've won against in
Yeah.
other games, like she is extremely notable. Uh, she's extremely notable to be one of the most difficult like bosses I've ever gone against. I mean, of course, there's gonna be builds. We're gonna talk about builds about what are the best builds to go against these bosses or what we think would be suited for going against them. But in my opinion, I feel like there's just so much more. You're very limited to the type of builds that you can use going against the infected broodmother, and that's what makes it really difficult.
Yeah. Like you can't do like a poison or venom build because she's fully immune to venom and I believe 90% resistant to poison,
Yeah, yeah, she might as well be immune.
which which that's kind of what makes her unique is that you have to do like specific things, which makes the fiery armor really good against
Uh
her
huh.
because it's more just raw damage and no status effects, so you can get
Yeah,
the full potential out of it.
yeah. Now,
While
would you recommend that a person goes in? I've used my sleek fire ant armor, but over time I realized I probably shouldn't have done that, and I should have just gone through with the bulky, effect because the acid splash doesn't really apply anywhere if I can think about it. I mean, what do you think?
the acid splash, it's kind of hidden. You kind of got to listen for it and you got to have like good eyes to see it. So maybe like if you think it didn't activate, like it probably did, but it made like such a not really noticeable difference.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, it's like a slight difference, but like not as much to where you know you could see like her health bar draining quickly.
Uh huh. Oh yeah, no, that's not going to be the case whatsoever. By the time you hit even the second phase, or you're midway through the second phase, you're already under a bunch of debuffs that affect how you're going to fight, in general, and
Yeah.
then that's all it really is. So the biggest build that we definitely recommend, and it's been featured in so many other videos, is you got to use that fire ant armor and the termite. What was it? The termite armor. That was the other
Oh
recommendation.
yeah, termite chest piece,
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. The chest piece was.
Uh,
I feel like you could be better.
yeah, it's still really good, especially when the infected broodmother came out. The infected broodmother kind of like indirectly buffed a lot of things, like the scimitars getting used more often.
Yeah.
The termite breastplate was being used because of how fast she is. A bunch of stuff. That and also the newest trinket, which is the Giddy Gooper you get from the fireflies, to
Yeah.
where it actually makes fireflies more like have a use
Uh huh.
besides just getting them for light or something like that, like for your base, just decoration.
For sure. And I'm actually really happy that they came out with new craftable trinkets. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it kind of makes getting into the game a little bit more like there's more of an incentive to continue because in my opinion, like for the longest time, it went from like, okay, you're starting with nothing. and then it takes you a long
Oh
time,
yeah.
especially if it's your first time or you're still new to grounded. It takes you almost like way too long for you to make that next step to get to tier 2.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I do kind of wish is that they added more early game weapons, but
Yeah.
I don't know how likely that's going to be.
It would be interesting to see if they did something like that. At least some newer early armor, because of course you got the acorn armor, right, and you've got the rotten bee armor, but they are what they are. However, like especially even if you play in medium mode, if you somehow decided to go ahead and upgrade your acorn armor to like another level, like level that up, then you're still having difficulties trying to get that ladybug armor because ladybugs are like they'll bulldoze it over you like easily. Like, you get two
Oh yeah.
shotted, three shotted, depending on which difficulty you're on. Which we're gonna talk about difficulty changes here in a minute, because that's the most exciting part for me is the difficulty changes. Um, but yeah,
All right.
I that's why I came out with a video. It was more straight to the point as to like how you can get the ladybug armor really easily. Um, and it just takes a bunch of spiky sprigs, man. Like you
Oh
go
yeah.
against them, you go against them, and you're like attacking them combo after combo, trying to make it through your first ladybug. And I was like, dude, I've died so many times from ladybugs, from ladybirds, and I was like, dude, there's got to be another way. Until I was told by I'm gonna put the name here. I was told by somebody that you can use spiky sprigs and you just huck them at the ladybugs, and it takes them.
Oh yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. Did you see that? it was like four shots in mild, and it took around 6 to 7 shots in medium and woe mode. And I was like, dude, you could easily do that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when the 1.0 update came out, that was actually a strat, like a speed run you were able to do,
Yeah,
to where you just make a pebblet spear, or actually a few pebblet spears, and then just huck them at a Black Widow to get like a good time.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
seeing a video on that. Like, I believe some guy killed a Black Widow from spawning in till it was dead in less than 5 minutes, maybe slightly more, just because of that hucking strat.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, man. Like, I don't see them
Yeah.
ever nerfing that in general unless everybody is using it. But it is a
Oh yeah.
really good tip to have. And people who do speedruns are ridiculous. Like they'll find a way.
Oh
You know
yeah.
how there are people who like will find a way to cheese something? Then you have the
Yeah.
speedrunners where like no, like we can like cheese it. We can cheat. They're like the cheese masters, man.
But yeah, also hucking things. A while ago when the dev build was leaked for the 1.0 world,
Uh-huh.
and there was something I saw that was really interesting. It was a two-handed spear from the lizard boss that got scrapped.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that would go really interesting with hucking, because can you imagine, throwing that like a firing, like, ooh, he gets like impaled against like the dirt or something just from that. Oh, that would have been so fun.
The going back to the weapons you said I wish we had or something new. There's a
Yeah.
weapon in Valheim called this I think it's called Stagbreaker or something like that. And
Oh, I know.
you know what
That's
I'm
my
talking
favorite
about,
weapon. It's one
dude?
of my favorite
Like
weapons. Yeah, I
yes.
know.
Could you
Oh,
imagine if we had something like that that did not only an incredible amount of damage, but an AoE that like made the earth quake? Like that'd be so
yeah.
sick.
I was thinking about that. Like, I was thinking of them. They should add like a Warhammer, because I play. There's this one game I was playing with my friends not a while ago. It's called Chivalry 2,
Okay.
and there's a weapon in the game called the Maul, and if you do a heavy attack and hit someone, it sends them flying. like a
That's
it's
crazy.
good. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like it's slow, and you're probably gonna die if you don't know how to use it. But oh my god, the hammer makes things so fun in the game because if you get a hit on someone,
Uh
well,
huh.
if you do a heavy attack on someone, it sends them flying. Like
That's
I'm talking
that's
about
funny.
5, 6 feet, maybe more back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
super
that would be really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool
That would
to
be really
see
cool if they added a
more.
Warhammer because I would be really into that idea.
Yeah.
And also, it would buff the hammer category as a whole. As right now, hammers are
Oh.
kind of mid. Like the
Yeah.
Black Ox hammer, the Insect hammer. It would be really cool if they did add that.
You know what? That's a good point. Now, actually, not talking about hammers,
Yeah,
that is one weapon that's quite often overlooked because even if something is, weak against busting, you're still going to use a club. It's just going to deal more
yeah,
damage. It does not matter if it's weak against busting. Like you're going to use a club. That's what I used going against all of like the rusties and tasties, the archers, the assistant manager. I used the club for all of it because it just took way too long for me to use hammer after hammer, just whacking away at it.
yeah, yeah. It
So,
feels like you're taking a week to swing it.
uh huh, yeah,
It,
exactly.
it takes a while,
It
and it
does.
also leaves out a bunch of damage. Like a video I did, like because of how slow it was, I wasn't able to do like all the full damage I wanted to a boss, like to get that full 3 hit combo in because of it.
Okay, yeah, it would be mm, it just
Because it'd
be
be good
super
as
cool.
well because
Yeah,
they have high stun and then decent damage.
yeah,
I like the speed just needs a little bit quicker in my opinion because right now it's pretty slow. Well,
yeah.
something they could do is sorry about that
It's
is
okay.
I was testing it out to where like I killed something with the Black Ox hammer with the Widow gear, and I believe it's a 10% increase in attack
Okay,
speed, and it was like the perfect speed for the hammers. Maybe not perfect, but it was like just enough to where you can get a bunch of damage in, like similar to the other one-handed weapons.
okay. Dang. Yeah, no,
So
that's super
that might be a
interesting.
good buff for it
It could
for all the
be.
hammers because right now, I would honestly, in my opinion, consider hammers to be like the worst weapon type in the game right now, which sucks because hammers are like my favorite weapon in other games. In Valheim, uh, you know the the Stag Breaker, the Demolisher is like my favorite thing to use,
Yeah,
and in
yeah.
other games, like Warhammers are my favorite thing to
Could
use.
you imagine doing like making the most tankiest build and we could have like one of the shields that didn't come out was like that huge shield. Apparently,
Oh
yeah, you know what I'm
yeah, I
talking
know what you're
about?
talking
Like that
about.
one, like if we could
Yeah.
get a massive shield and you could just like, it had an effect where like if you block something, it could repel some damage back, almost
Oh
like
yeah.
when you hit something really hard you can feel that reverberation, like something
Oh
like that
yeah.
that would deal with like it wouldn't be like a
Like a
crazy
stagger
amount,
effect.
yeah, pretty much, like it wouldn't be a crazy amount of damage, but it'd be something that you could use. Of course it would slow your movements down if they were to think of something like that, but at I mean, we could go on and on about that, but let's go ahead and talk
Oh
about
yeah.
the difficulty changes. I feel like with
All right.
newer,
Yeah.
yeah, the newer players, because grounded gets new players almost every single day, and I see
Oh
this.
yeah.
Yeah, I see this. You
I've
see
seen
it.
I've seen it on YouTube. Like on my recommended, I'll get a bunch of like new Let's Plays of
Uh huh.
people just playing the game for the first time.
Uh huh.
And that's good.
It
I'm
is.
glad Grounded's expanding.
It is, and that's the reason why, like, well, for us, it makes it even more worth it to know that our videos do help people out, especially if those who really enjoy the game or they're just wanting to get into it or they're inspired to get into it. Excuse me. So I was thinking, this video in general could also help out a lot of people. Plus, who doesn't like to talk about one of their favorite games? Uh, and
Yeah.
I don't mind being in this niche, in my opinion, because I enjoy the game so much uh, that I feel like there's always something new to come out and there's always something to talk about. So, difficulty changes. I had it pulled up. Give me just a moment so I can figure that out where I. Oh, is it this?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
alright.
No, you're fine. So, I found it. So, basically, the biggest change was wool mode. This was. Do I regret. So, first, uh, it's hard to say if I agree with the changes. I feel like
Yeah.
it so when you read it out loud, and I'll read you some of it. So
Alright.
the player damage buff is buffed from 75% to 80%. The the integrity of structures go from 50 to 100%. And item durability are buffed from 75% to 100%. Now, when you read it just off of that, it basically is like, oh, well, wool mode isn't difficult anymore. However, then they add, let's see. Okay, first off, if you die, you lose everything. Everything.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
so it's like old grounded to where everything will drop on the ground and you have to go get it.
Exactly. Exactly. That
Okay, that's
was
not bad.
it's not bad. No. However, you're looking at creature health. So creature health increased from 100% to 120%. So basically,
Oh.
yeah, exactly. So could you imagine going against the wasp queen, for example, with
Oh my god.
friends
Oh no.
on wool mode? Like, could you imagine, dude?
Oh no. A thing that's a nightmare is having my like your main base attacked by wasp. Oh, that's gonna be such a nightmare to defend against, especially
Uh
if it's
huh.
like a tall structure.
Look,
Oh god. Because
look.
on medium mode, like I had to like reload a save because they pretty much like destroyed a bunch of my base just because of it.
Yeah. I mean, just don't piss them off.
Oh yeah.
Just don't piss them off.
Unfortunately, you kind of have to in order to see all the wasp and their new like all the content
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah. It's it's like can you I've yet to play around with this because I think I'm on my 7th playthrough of Grounded
mm,
between like personal plays and then creative, like creation content creation plays is I've yet to play around if you can take down the wasp nests without like getting raided. Have you experienced that yet?
mm, uh,
Because you piss them
yeah,
off.
no, I
Yeah,
yeah, you pretty much have to in order to get into the Brawny Boy bin.
yeah. And it's just so it's interesting. I so like a lot of people, especially for like treehouse builds, because I'm pretty known for my treehouse build, is
Oh yeah.
people want to do cliff bases, people want to do treehouse builds, but they're like, I'm really worried about the wasp raids, and I'm like, honestly, the best advice that I have is be very careful going against them. Like, don't go and wipe them all out all at the same time. Like space it out. Like you'll get there. Um, but at least with one of the changes, if you do end up getting raided, you do get some incentive, which I'm really glad they put that in because raids were
Oh
nothing
yeah.
but just annoying and they were a hassle. And if you were playing in wool mode, it was like, what was the point of playing this game? Because, you just happen to get raided. Uh, and sometimes it'd come out of nowhere. Like sometimes I would go back to my one of my series, one of my worlds, and they're like, okay, payback coming. And I'm like, I didn't touch orb weavers in like a week.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I get into the
Like
game and it's like, you got payback. And I'm like, why?
yeah, there are factions to where I'm like, oh well, it's obviously going to be I don't know the Fire Ant faction because I killed half their colony just trying to get mint.
Yeah.
But and then it's like, nope, it's Orb Weavers.
Yeah.
Like
So,
it's like, well, what do I do to them? Like I haven't killed any of them in a while.
uh huh. I mean, uh, yeah, but, overall, circling back, Woe mode, I feel like, is gotten more manageable. And I think that's the word I'm looking for,
Yeah.
is manageable. Meaning you can do stuff, you can play Woe mode, and you don't have to worry about, let's say, did you know the time of day actually speeds up even longer or it's faster?
Ooh.
Yeah, it does, but they decreased it. So it went from 100% to 80%, which I don't know what that is in the newest update. Uh, I don't know what that's converted to. But anyways,
Yeah.
uh, I feel I feel like because everything drops like how it used to, that changes everything. It makes it, because you're gonna die in Womo. That's just how it is. I've only known one person that's done a zero death playthrough, and he's
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, he did like the bare minimum, but still, he was able to do zero death playthrough on Wo mode, which is an impressive feat, if I may add. But I think I think overall they made it manageable so that new players can, be able to experience this difficulty level without being overly frustrated with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As, yeah, I also seen quite a few people do zero death, which is pretty hard, especially with some of the stuff that could happen in the game.
Uh huh. There's a lot of
I'm pretty sure
bugs.
there's still, yeah, there is still quite a lot of bugs. I think there is one bug to where there's a chance where you can just get flown into the grass, like once you get attacked by something and die, which has happened
Yes,
to me a few times.
dude. That's my
And
biggest fear.
yeah,
In
oh
my
yeah,
zero death
that's why.
playthrough, in my zero death playthrough, that is my biggest fear. I was going
Oh
against a
yeah,
black ox beetle, and I was like, okay, I see you in the grass. It's not gonna happen. I see you. So I'm like, okay, let me piss it off
yep.
and let like come to me type of thing. And that battle took a lot longer than it should have. But again, like there's just a bunch of risks, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of experience for you to notice these type of bugs, because when I say if I end up dying to something like that in my zero death playthrough, I'm just gonna flip my table. It's table flipping
Oh
time.
yeah.
All I'm saying.
That's kind of why I haven't attempted something like that, because I'm worried that like I'll be doing it and then just out of nowhere I'll die and I'll be like, well, I mean, I didn't do anything to do, like I didn't die in combat. It just happened, like
Uh
it would
huh.
just happen,
What was
which
it?
sucked.
So I had a mild playthrough way back, way back, and I was going against the infected wolf spider, and I was like, okay, it's just one of those things. And I was messing around with it because they just came out with the trinket. So I was like, okay, I really want to get it. I want to see how long it takes for me to get this.
Oh yeah, I
So
still need to get it.
it's a good trinket. But anyways,
Oh
um,
yeah.
I went up against it, and I was by the oak tree, and I was like, okay, no problem. Let me just like, punch it a few times, and I'll be good. So I had my shield, and I went to go block, and this infected wolf spider just out of nowhere, like two shot at me on mild, and
Oh yeah.
I was like, I was blown away. I was like, there's no way I just got two shotted. So, uh, I don't plan on plugging the haze in my zero death series until I get to the infected broodmother, because that right
Yeah.
there just told me don't
'Cause,
mess with the infected wolf spider.
yeah, that's the thing. Like the infected wolf spider, it's such an interesting concept,
Mm-hmm.
except it's the unblockable attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does that little what is it? Like the web attack that normal spiders are doing, except it's with the fungus.
Yep.
That's annoying because it like if you go near it, you'll take a bunch of damage, and also the jump attack to where it does the explosion. It does that as well as apply venom to you,
Yeah.
and then the 3-hit combo as well as another annoying one because in woe mode, I'm pretty sure the 3-hit combo can one shot you because
uh,
you're not able to block it or do anything. Like unless you're fast enough
it
and doing a
does.
smoothie, it will one shot you. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it will kill you in one combo.
Yeah. I went against the infected wolf spider on woe mode, and I got super lucky. Like I got super lucky. It did not do any of the explosion combos, and and that was like my biggest fear. I was like, I know I'm gonna die instantly if this thing does it. So it is. But I did go against it again like the other day, and I was like, yep, 3-hit combo, explosions, dead.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it's something else.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really glad. So going back to war mode, especially with these newest changes, I want to say it's very similar to medium. However, it does have its challenges. It still has its challenges. It's always going to have its challenges. But I don't think it's going to be any
Yeah.
of those changes that will affect. It'll just you'll have to look at the game in a whole new perspective. Basically, it's like the first time I played it, it felt like I was playing it for the first time because you're talking about like, oh, I haven't died this easily in so long. Oh, this strategy doesn't work in WoW mode, so I have to figure something
Yeah.
else out. So yeah, it still has its challenges for sure. And in my opinion, like yeah, it sucks that they buffed a lot of things up, but at the same time, it made it manageable to where it makes it a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Home
let's.
mode's definitely yeah, it's definitely a game mode that I like to play a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right. So should we talk about the maps?
Oh yeah, the maps. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about the maps.
All right. The maps. So I have yet to play any of the maps. I'm actually really busy because I've been making my own map, and I
Okay.
I still have some bugs I need to tweak and little fixes here and there, but it will come out very soon. I cannot wait. But the mechanics, I was very surprised to see how everything worked so smoothly and it was so simple.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are some things that are simple, and then you have your gadgets and gizmos, and there's some things that just don't make sense. I'm still trying to figure that out, but hopefully I will be able to, so I can make another video on it. Um, but
Yeah.
creating a map, now that I've never felt so proud. I mean, you're talking about
Yeah.
starting from scratch, dude. So when you play these maps, it's like, wow, like someone really took the
Yeah.
time and effort to think every little thing through.
Oh yeah. The what is it? The one map I did play, which is the Harbinger of Doom. It was a really good map. Like
Okay.
they really fought out on it because when you do the first chapter, you're in the haze and it's pretty much like a death run to get to the end point.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to do it, but it was fun. I'll give it that. It was a really fun map. So I definitely recommend going to try it.
Okay. All right. Definitely put that
But
down. We will put the any maps that we will talk about. We'll definitely put that down below. That way you guys can either try
oh
it
yeah,
and side note. Do you plan on actually recording this map to kind of give like a little sneak peek footage?
yeah, I probably will. I might edit in like a clip of me playing the map.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. I was thinking about doing something like that, but I think we'll do it for the next episode because I want to be able to play a map, talk about it, and then put in the footage.
Yeah, yeah.
So okay.
Speaking of yeah, but speaking of maps, me and also a friend of mine, we were planning. We were actually right now we're planning on making our own map.
Okay.
It's kind of going to be do you know the game Castle Crashers?
No, no, not at all.
Uh, but pretty much it's kind of like a dungeon crawler, pretty much, and
Oh.
that's what it's gonna be.
Okay. That's
But
cool.
yeah,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
we're planning. Right now we're trying to work on the second act, but we still do need to flesh out the first act
Okay.
for it.
Yeah, this
In total, there's gonna be, I would say, probably 3 acts, each
okay.
spanning to each tier of creature.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so obviously the first act it's mostly going to be tier 1, maybe some tier 2 creatures. Second act it's going to be mostly tier 2 creatures with maybe tier 3. And then third act it's just going to be pretty much all tier 3 creatures.
Okay. Yeah, so this a lot to get into. Well, what would you say is like one of the your favorite features about the being able to create your own map on playgrounds?
Honestly, if you're able to be just creative with it, you can make some really good maps.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Harbinger Doom map, for example. Like they really did some creativity for it because you have the whole atmosphere of it just makes it feel like a war zone
Yeah.
because you have the gas from the haze, you have like explosions going off, you have let's see, I don't know what these things are called, but they're kind of like these like spike things where they have like the spikes. I don't know what I don't know what they're called, but they're kind of like silver. I forgot what they were, but yeah,
Okay.
they use that like as kind of like the little like barbed wire things. But
Uh huh.
it was pretty good. It was a pretty good map. Like it made you feel like you were actually running through like a war zone trying to get to like an exfil point.
Man, that's really crazy. I'm so happy that you mentioned it because uh at first it was a little confusing for me, getting everything set up, but I don't. It all it took was me to connect one thing to another, and I realized just how much more simple it was compared to like Minecraft. Need
Yeah,
you don't need to overthink these things. You literally just be like, okay, this can connect to this, and you can connect that to that, and you have options to change. What actions certain things do. So I thought
yeah,
the amount of thought that the devs put into this game is honestly it's beautiful.
yeah.
I've never played a game that has had so much thought put into it. I mean, opposed to
Oh
like your
yeah,
Souls games. But yeah, no, it's I think that's what makes this game that just started out as a small survival
you
game
know,
to what it
yeah.
is
Honey,
now.
I Shrunk the Kids as a survival game. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Uh, yeah. One thing I would say about playground mode is that I wish you could lock certain settings, like let's see, creature health scaling.
Uh huh.
I believe you could set it for the base, but I believe if people want to, they can change it anytime.
Okay.
Because that's what I was thinking for another map, like an own personal project, was kind of like an impossible mode. It was going to be maybe the Wasp Queen or the Infected Brood Mother, but like 3, 5 times of its health.
Interesting. Okay.
But
There.
and then yeah, obviously, the reward for defeating it would be like a screenshot, like a special shout out. But then I realized that someone could just easily go into like the game settings, change the health to like 1 times, pretty much defeat it, and then turn it back to 5 times and say that they defeated it like that way.
Okay. Yeah, no, it definitely would be interesting. They have so much to do. Like now that they introduced playgrounds, which in of itself could be a completely separate game if you
Oh
really
yeah,
want to think about it like that. But they have so much things that they could do. There's so many
yeah,
opportunities to be able to make this so much better. But the fact that people are really embracing this newest update makes me happy because it
oh
is
yeah,
what it is. Like it's making the game thrive. It's really bringing to
yeah.
life a lot of
Like
what the
yes, some
game
people
has.
were but yeah, some people they were disappointed that not much survival content was added, but they gave us new combat changes and also a teaser for the next. Well, it could be a teaser for the next update with the secret door.
Yeah, I think it redefined the game in my opinion. It gives us options to be able to experience this survival game that we've been experiencing for the past what like 2 years 3 years and it
Yeah.
gives us like a whole nother perspective. It's not okay, let's start the game, okay, I've started this game before, and then it's like okay, I know what to do next, I know what to do next. These maps make it almost impossible. Like it's like you're starting a whole new game. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
Oh
this is
yeah.
yeah. You step into a map and you're like, okay, I have no idea what are the objectives. You have to figure these things out. Like especially some PVE maps, like you really got to think these things through.
Yeah, you really do.
Okay.
But
Uh, I think we are just about done. I feel like we talked.
what else is there to talk about?
It's been like less than. It's almost been an hour and 10 minutes. Like I feel like
Oh
we got
yeah,
a lot of content out there that we could talk about, and there's still
yeah.
so much more. Like the next video, we could talk about. We can actually pin down. Like we could try out some different builds. Then we could talk about those
Oh yeah.
builds. Um, we can again we can actually play some maps, talk about those maps, feature the maps, and yeah, yeah, we could definitely do that. I mean, there's still going to be some things to talk about regarding the newest update, so I'm not really worried about that. So let's just go ahead and call it here.
All right,
All
we'll
right,
call
let's.
it here. If you all enjoyed that first episode of a Grounded Talk, then please make sure to like and subscribe for me and also AstroNerds. I mean, AstroNerdGames. I meant,
That's good. That's
as
cool.
it would support us a lot. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next Grounded Talk episode.
That is perfect. You guys are
See ya.
amazing. Bye.